Hi everyone, this is Kate with Kate's Paper Creations, and today's a little bit of a special video. You get to see me make two different cards because this video gets sent out for my virtual workshops where people have kits to do at home because we can't come together because of the horrible thing that's going on in this country right now with the COVID stuff. So anyway, every once in a while it's just kind of fun to let everybody see my face, and they kind of like to touch base and see my face once in a while. So then you get to see it too. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you enjoy today's projects. Here we go. I'm going to be doing two cards today because this video also doubles as my virtual workshop video for those that I prepare kits for, and so you get to see both because they do two cards when we do our kits. So let's start with the easier one of the two. It's pretty simple, and what I did, I've partially constructed it. It starts with a Whisper White, or actually Basic White, thick card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 to make a side fold A2 greeting card. Then this layer here is 4 by 5 1/4. It's from Basic White regular cardstock, and it is embossed with the Scripty folder, embossing folder, and it is attached to the front of the card with dimensionals. Then I have used the Lots of Heart stamp set, the Mini Hearts dies, and I have cut out two hearts, these two hearts, same size, and one of these, and I did that with these. Let me get it out for you. This particular die has one set right here that cuts out two that are attached to each other, and you'll get the centers and the outline. And I just cut a piece of the foil large enough to just cover that spot, and I cut out just what I needed instead of having to cut out the whole thing, unless you were going to use them all. Of course, then you could do that. Just cut out the whole thing. And the two hearts, and then the tag. The tag is rather unique. I have a Silhouette Cameo electronic cutter, and I wanted something. It has this lovely saying in the stamp set, sent with lots of heart, which I loved. I have stamped it with Rococo Rose. This is the Rococo Rose foils that are in the mini catalog, the January to June mini catalog. And I wanted to continue that shimmer. And so I went into my Cameo and I created this shape for the tag and created the center part. And when you print and cut, I can print in my laser printer, and it prints it in black, but it uses laser ink. Then I can put those foils that are available over that and run it through my Heidi Swapp laminator, and it fuses the foil to the black ink. So it created this lovely little border that has the same color shimmer as the Rococo Rose foils do. And so not available to everyone, I'm sure, but you know, every once in a while I do like to use my machine. So unfortunately, that's what I did. I'm sure that you could still stamp your sentiment and have the tag and maybe come up with something different to do to make your labels special. But all I am going to do now with this to finish it off is get my dimensionals, and I'm going to put one of these hearts on dimensionals. And I'm going to also put the tag, the sentiment, on a dimensionals. Get those ready to go. There we go. And then I'm going to put one heart on just with regular adhesive. I'm going to give it lots of adhesive because I'm sticking it to a, and let's see, I think I'm going to put this one like this, and then I'm going to put this dimensional one over it like this, And then I'm going to put my sentiment right down here like that. And then this little guy is very thin, and I'm going to be using, I didn't do it with the double-sided adhesive, so I need to put some ink on the back of, or ink, some glue on the back of that. And so I'm just going to use my two-way glue pen here and put some glue on the back of it so I can stick it down. And this is, like I say, also cut from the Cocoa Rose foil. And I'm just going to put it down here like this. And you could put that anywhere on your paper. It doesn't really matter where you put it. And so all of this came from the Lots of Heart Mini Hearts Dies bundle. And there's card number 1. Isn't that cool? Just very simple and yet very pretty. Okay, now let's do card number 2. And as I said in the title of my video for my blog, not all Valentines have to be red or pink. Some can be a different color. And so this one is going to be Granny Apple Green. And I really like it. It just speaks to me. So I hope it speaks to you as well. Let's show you how we did that one. Set it over here. Started with the basic white thick, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, folded to make a side fold greeting card. A2 size, standard greeting card size. Burnish that edge, and there's that. Second layer is basic white regular. It is, the only reason I switch back and forth is the thick works best for the bases because it makes them a sturdier card. And then I switch to the thin for these layers because it takes, diminishes the thickness of the card and the weight of the card. And the Whisper and the basic white regular is a little less expensive. So that's why I switch out. I have taken this 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white regular, and I have embossed it with the Dainty Diamonds embossing folder. And it's just beautiful. I love that design. It's a subtle but elegant design. And it's going to just, oh, I have one other thing I have to do. 1 second. Where is my, there it is. You know, every time I try to be totally ready for a video, I do something. I do this at my workshop too, which is why most of my workshops are held at my home. The next layer, I'm going to cover the front of the card, and I'm going to cover it completely. And this is the Ombre Designer Series paper 6 by 6 that's in the Celebration catalog. It's available till the end of February, and for free with a $50 merchandise order. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. For that. And it's actually the first layer that goes on, and it's just going to go on flat. The back side of this is Blackberry Bliss. And these ombre colors are really pretty, and they're very versatile. So if I spend enough money, I'll probably get more of that ombre paper. Okay, come on. Get that one corner down where I want it. There we go. That's better. Okay, so there's the front of that for layer 1. Then this will be layer 2, and I'm also attaching it flat. And this one, because it is 4 by 5 1/4, is going to leave that 1/8 inch border. So you get to see that lovely Granny Apple Green border all the way around. There. So then I used this die and this die from the die set. And I used the pearlescent specialty paper that's available in the January to June mini. This one cuts out the outline, and then this one cuts out the center. Now, there's 2 ways you could do this. You could put this on the all together and tape it together with some washi tape onto your cutting plate so that you can cut both of them out at the same time and they'll all be perfectly aligned. Or you can run them through separately. But you'll end up with this little heart here left over, and that you can use on another project. Okay? And this is the piece you have that we're going to use for the card today. Then I wanted to have this lacy center, and that came from Vine Designs bundle and the Flowering Vines dies, and this particular die right here. It is this rectangular one, and I cut it from Whisper White regular. I put double-sided adhesive on the back of it, the adhesive sheets that are in your main catalog, and I cut it out with the die. Now, because it has the double-sided adhesive on the back, it makes it just a slightly bit thicker, and I shimmed. So I just put a single piece of designer paper behind my cutting plate, and then I put the die and this on there, and then I ran it through forward and backward and forward, so it went through like 3 times, so it cuts really, really well. Okay, and then I just punched out all the little pieces. If you get one that's kind of not wanting to come loose, just do all of them that you can, because when you peel off that backing, it will probably pull away any of the others that are left behind. But that's how I did that. Then I took this this die, and I cut this out. And if you use these 2 flowers that are in the center, this one and this one, you can line this up perfectly by putting those points of the top point and the bottom point right on the petals, like this. This point points to that petal. Get my big finger out of the way. This point points to this petal. This point lines up with that petal, and you'll get a perfectly straight and centered design with this main flower right in the center. Okay, and I ran this through then the Big Shot, and this is what you end up with. Now there's a bunch of broken edges here, and I am going to trim all of those off. You can see the dotted line, the hash marks that come with the stitch marks that are on the die. You can see those, and you just want to trim this very close to those. It's okay to go really close because it's slightly bigger than the center of the piece we're going to put it behind, and so it won't hurt to cut them a little really close to that stitch line. And that's what I'm doing here. Just to finalize the shape of it, that's so it will fit, because I'm going to put it behind the pearlescent piece. Okay, get that out of the way. Got some here we need to get rid of. Okay, then you can test it and make sure that none of that white's going to stick out from behind your piece when you get it on there. And it's going to work just fine. I've trimmed off enough that nothing shows past the edge out into the scallops. Then I'm going to use my 2-way glue pen. You could use your liquid glue from Stampin' Up! And I'm going to run a bead of glue around the back of this pearlescent piece. And before I stick it down, I should have thought of this, I need to color this. And I'm using the Granny Apple Green ink pad, and I'm using the blending brushes that we have from Stampin' Up! And I am going to lightly ink this so that it has that Granny Apple Green look to it. And you can go as light or as dark. It's okay if you have variations in the shading. It just makes it even more special. That was quick and easy. And now I will attach this to it. I'm going to put it on this contrasting so I can see it better. There we go. And nice thing about glue, lets you have a little bit of leeway to adjust if you need to. Make sure that none of your sides are showing. That looks good. So there's my finished heart that I'm going to put on the front of my card. I didn't want the totally opaque look from cutting this from cardstock, which is why I did this with the white and the blending brush. It gives it so much more character to have the variations in the shading and everything. Excuse me. So now that this is dry, it's going to get attached to the card front. Again, it's going down flat. And again, I'm going to be using this, but I'm also going to be doing the double-sided adhesive. So that's on the back of this delicate piece. And all you got to do is take your pokey tool, what I call my pokey tool, and get that backing started like that. And then just peel it up carefully across. Just take a second here. There we go. So now this whole back, I guess I don't need the glue pin for this because this whole back is sticky from the adhesive. And so then I just decided where I wanted to put it. I see one little piece sticking out. I'm going to fix. There we go. And you can tilt it. You can square it up. You can do whatever you want. I tilted mine slightly to the left and pressed it into place. That double-sided adhesive is so nice. Okay, then I wanted these butterflies, but I needed some shimmer. I needed something bright. So I took my silver foil and I colored it with the brush tip of the Granny Apple Green Blends Pen because these will dry permanent on non-porous surfaces. It dries permanent on the foil. And then I just cut the butterflies out of this. And as you can see here, these little butterflies have the most gorgeous little shimmer. Now this looks like it's pretty streaky here, but when I cut them out, you can't even tell. You can't even tell. And where'd my third butterfly fly off to? I love it when things disappear when I'm working on my table. Oh well, we'll do the two we have. I put these on with mini dimensionals, and I actually cut the dimensional in half. And I just love it when things fly away. Oh, here he is. He flew clear over there. There's that third butterfly. I love it when the butterflies fly away. And I just put it right across the center like that. A half of one of the minis works perfect for the centers of those butterflies. One more half of a dimensional. Get that other half to let go of me. And there we go. And then these, of course, again, you can put them wherever you want. Just wherever you think they would look cute. And that's where mine are at. Final piece is the sentiment. This particular tag came from Ornate Frames. I am stamping the sentiment with Granny Apple Green. The sentiment came from the same stamp set, the Lots of Hearts stamp set. My heart just smiles thinking about you. That is such a sweet saying. And I'm going to stamp that in here. And then when I got done with that, I decided that the white on white didn't stand out enough. So I got out my sponge daubers. This is how I store my sponge daubers. I know I've mentioned it before, but I get new subscribers all the time, and so I wanted to bring it up again. I bought these at Walmart for like $4, and they have these little compartments. The sponge daubers fit perfectly in them, and I have one for every color. So when I need to do it, now they do slightly touch the top, so you can see how it's kind of smudged up, but I can still tell that this is my Granny Apple Green sponge dauber, and I created a little cover for it and everything. And I am going to just ink the edges of this tag. There's a little tiny embossed ridge on the tag, and that's kind of what I'm coloring, is that embossed ridge. Just like that. Close this up. And then this will go on with dimensionals as well, and I can use regular ones for that. Just like that. And I'm going to put that right down here and center it from left to right. And there's that part of the card. Now I did put in the inside a little flower stamp. That's in this stamp set as well. And I'm going to do that with the Granny Apple Green as well. And just a little flower down in the corner on the card. And then I also decided to do the envelope, and I'll just show you the envelope. They have a string of hearts. It's part of the stamp set. It's right here. And so I took the Granny Apple Green and I just stamped down the side of the card front, of the envelope front, I should say. And then I also took some of the Granny Apple Green ombre papers, and I made an envelope flap cover. And when I do this, I just put it down on the paper like this, on the opposite side of what I'm going to be using. I lay it down, line it up, and trace around it and cut it out. And then I put my adhesive on the envelope flap itself and press it down. And then if there's any overlapping, I trim it off, and it all looks wonderful. So that is today's cards for your viewing and for my virtual people that are going to be doing their kits at home. And I thank you for stopping by. I do have a link to my online store in the description box below, and also a link to my blog where a supplies list, and you can be taken by link to These Are My Stamps, where you can print a supplies list from there if you need it. Okay? Thanks for stopping by.